said, misled in something that I've said or haven't had the full information, I actually own up to that. And I actually say, I will do my best to get you the information. Hence the letter for Dr. O'Connor, right? And so I will, I've always said, I've always been committed to doing the best I can to give you the information that we have. That is a commitment from the team. It has been an unprecedented time. I think you guys could admit that, right? It is an unprecedented time. And so we are meeting the moment, a new moment that has never really existed before. And so we want to make sure that we get you all the information that we have. And when we don't have it, we do try our best to provide that information. And so that is something that I'm going to continue to do. And I've always said, it is an honor and a privilege to be standing in front of you every day, exercising in the freedom of the press. This is a briefing that is watched around the world because we lead in democracy, right? We lead in the freedom of the press and what that looks like. Honor and privilege, and I will continue to do my best to do just that.
And we certainly understand, you speak on behalf of the president and you defend him, his actions, his positions, his policy positions included. Could I just ask you about one example, just going back, that comes to mind? September.
In the past, you're talking about the last 12 days?
I'm talking about
recent
months.
No, well, you just said recently. It's been, we've been going back and forth. And so in the last 12 days or so. That's how I believe that's how you asked me the question.
I was talking generally.
Okay.
But if I could just ask you about one example.
I mean, look, if you're going to ask me about something from months ago, it probably would be fair for me to. I probably won't be able to answer that right away. Whatever it is that you're going to say to me.
Come back to us.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. But it's also to say, hey, from September of whenever year, right? That is something that I probably should give a little space to kind of see exactly what you're speaking of.
Okay, and that's fine if that ends up being
I just want to make sure that we
Sure.
kind of give some context here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll remember this. This was an event where the president called out Congresswoman Jackie Walorski, looked for her in the room even though she had recently died. You told multiple reporters at the time, and this was asked in multiple different ways.
She was top of mind.
Right.
Yep.
It was because she was top of mind for the president. I mean, would you, on that example, would you offer a different explanation?
I would not, because honestly, I spoke to the president right before coming out that day, and that is what the president told me. It's not something that came from me. That is something that came from the president.
So he was saying, even as he was looking for her in the moment, it wasn't a mistake.
She was top of mind.
Okay.
That is coming, as you just said in your question. I speak for the president. I speak on behalf of him. That was coming from him, and I was delivering directly from the president what he was thinking at the time.
Great. A very different kind of example, and this is more recent.
Oh, sure.
When the president was in Italy for the G7, and you remember he skipped one of the leaders' dinner, which was a major event for the summit. And I remember you were asked about it by reporters, and you said, we shouldn't read too much into the fact that he's skipping one dinner. I mean, would the explanation actually have been that he was tired and that he needed to skip something that was happening so late in the evening?
And my answer stays the same. I wouldn't read too much into it. It's not the first time that he has. He has a really busy schedule, and there's a lot going on. As you know, when the president is abroad, he has continued to do domestic stuff as well as meeting with global leaders. And so I truly would not read too much into it, and I will leave it there.
Okay, I have a very final question on the annual
Sure.
letter from Dr. O'Connor. He said that the president continues to be fit for duty and fully executes all of his responsibilities without any exemptions or accommodations. Just because it's been a couple of months, do you know if that statement is still accurate?
It's still accurate.
So no exemptions, no accommodations?
No exemptions, no accommodations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Corinne, there was an announcement from the Department of Justice today about a crackdown effort to interrupt a Russian state-sponsored bot operation